My goal is to try and convince you to keep doing personal projects, and that's going to be really tough because I'm not a motivational speaker, and also it's a really tough ask because a lot of personal projects fail. I'm going to say most of them actually. And I don't want to give you that easy solution stuff like just start small and have really achievable projects because that's not really that fun, for me at least. My personal projects, when I start them because they're not easy and that they're a big change in my status quo. If I just wanted to do something achievable and small, I could do that, but I wouldn't consider it a personal project. So, how do I how do I convince you to get on a burning ship? That's my question, and I think I have an answer. So first, let's talk about this project that I'm doing here. It's basically a whole room remodeling. A year ago, I was in a room and I was sharing it with three other people. So the space was on my own. I wasn't comfortable. I honestly I hated it. But now that I'm back here, I'm really grateful to be staying with my parents while I do my master's degree, and I have my room back. And I'm just a bit frustrated because I'm not doing all that I can to turn this room into what I think it should be: a workspace, a studio, someplace where amazing things can come out of, someplace where I can be creative and really just make things. So I committed. It's going to sound crazy, but I committed $1,000, which might not be a lot of money to a lot of people, but for me, it's a hell of a lot of money. I committed all that, and I committed 2 weeks of my time over Christmas break to making my room the best it could possibly be. And it was a tall order. I don't know if you saw that design I showed a few seconds ago, but basically, I wanted to create new furniture, custom furniture, and I wanted to do it all myself because, to be honest, that's the only way $1,000 budget would cover all that, anyways. IKEA is not as cheap as you think. It's for the things I wanted, it would have been more expensive to go IKEA and buy furniture, and it ultimately would not have been the size I wanted to get. So this was it. I had to build everything myself. A bit of an aside, if you're planning on doing a personal project that requires building something yourself, then I highly recommend you take a look at what tools you already have and what tools you can get access to, because that really just makes or breaks most of the process. For me, doing woodworking is something that I've always liked doing, and I don't really have a workshop that I can use for cutting down these big sheets of plywood. So I had to make do with circular saws and boring tools and some cheap tools I can find, from Home Depot. So what I'm trying to say is if you are going to be doing something yourself, make sure you have the proper tools available or have access to them. Otherwise, it takes so much longer to get anything done. Going back to the idea of why you should do big personal projects, I'm actually going to give a couple of reasons why you shouldn't do them. The first one is that personal projects, big personal projects, by definition, go into domains that you don't really know much about, and you're kind of jumping into knowledge gaps left, right, and center. For example, here, even though I knew about, engineering, woodworking, how to create a 3D model of something, that's not the same as actually being able to design a piece of furniture. Because although it looks good in 3D, when you start building it, you'll realize, oh, this dimension doesn't actually work. This tolerance is too loose. This tolerance is too tight. And I, even though you have the tolerances right, the question of whether you can accurately cut them is a whole other story. So what I'm trying to say is with big personal projects, you go into them with this idea of, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, but you don't take into account all the gaps that you just don't know about, the unknown unknowns. Another reason why you shouldn't do them is because it's so much easier to underestimate how much time and money it's going to actually take to get your project done. And even if you overestimate initially, you'll be surprised how many times even that overestimation is not enough. For example, even though I budgeted $1,000, I ended up spending $828.98. And you might be thinking, okay, that's less than your budget. You're doing good. But just wait until the end and see how much that actually ended up delivering. I still have a bunch of plywood left over, so I'm not going to pretend like everything I spent was on this one piece that you'll see at the end. But it still wasn't going to cover everything that I wanted to get covered. And that's just the money aspect. The whole time aspect is completely different. I was going to try getting this project done within 2 weeks over Christmas break. I spent 1 week on the design process, which I don't regret at all. I'd say spend more time on design than you'd think because small changes in design have huge impacts on the actual rest of the project. So even if it takes another extra day or two to do design, don't stress about that. Spend the time on design, get it designed right. Where I really messed up is that I underestimated how much time it would actually take to build everything. I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought I'd get everything done within 5 days. That includes all the furniture built and assembled and installed and everything. And yeah, that is not a good plan at all. The final reason why you shouldn't do big personal projects is because they probably won't even give you the result that you really want. And I'm saying, even assuming that everything goes perfectly, you get everything done right, there's no guarantee that you properly initiated the project to take care of the thing you want to get taken care of. Let me break that down. So I started this project so I can be more creative, make more things, yada yada. But what is the guarantee that having a studio or a workshop to work in my room would even make me more creative or even result in more projects being done? I mean, I think it would, but did I seriously spend any time considering what if it doesn't? After saying all that, the reason why you should work on personal projects, it's in the name, personal. The project isn't about whatever you're building, it's about you. You're going to learn so much more about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, how you operate, and what you need to work on, that it's not worth not doing a personal project. If a big personal project is a burning ship, then maybe you need to get on just so you can realize that you can swim really well. Or hell, maybe you can even fly. Either way, you won't know if you stay on the shore the entire time.